Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to the Maze. This is MazeCast number 5,
Hard to believe.
and we are
Hard to
glad,
believe.
hard to believe, we're glad to have each and every one of you here. For those listening on day one, all the way up to maybe 5 years from now, who knows? But whenever you're listening to this, we do welcome you, and we're glad to have each and every one of you here. We hope that you'll like the content. You'll smash that like button. If you feel inclined, please subscribe as we're going to continue making content. And we would love to get your feedback on what you guys would like to see and to hear. What's new at the Maze, you might ask? Well, right now, we just had our 5E paid Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game last Friday. It was an interesting one. The party is out looking for a blue dragon because the war priest of Tiamat is lugging around a phylactery with a Draco Lich spirit in it and looking to find that dragon a new body to call home. So they were told where a blue dragon might be found. They went out to the Vast in the Forgotten Realms, which is the plains and deserts kind of east of Tantris and Raven's Bluff. And they ran into some storms and hilarity and chaos ensued. So, too long to go into here on the Maze Cast, but we do have a full write up of it over at our website, themastersmaze.com. And we will post a link in that description so you can go over take a look and see what kind of shenanigans our almost murder hobos got into last week. Uh, Other than that, we do ask you to check out the site, check out us on Instagram. We'll have links to all of our socials. And other than that, we're going to jump into some RPG news. A couple big things coming out here that have really kind of jumped onto our radar. The first is BORG. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of BORG if you are into TTRPGs at all. There are several different varieties of BORG available. It's a game known for its brutality, for its quick and easy play, and easy to understand rules. Well, apparently they have a new game coming out called Farewell to Arms, which is going to be based on World War One. We've had games based in Vietnam, World War Two, the war between the states, all kinds of things. But this one's actually going to be one of the first ones that I'm aware of set in World War One. It will not be World War One as we know it. This is going to be an alternate Earth where basically World War One is being fought over a special resource, and the war never ends. It just keeps going as they develop new weapons and new technologies and new ways of committing mass murder and mayhem. So that one's definitely on our radar. We will post a link to that in the description, and you guys probably see a couple photos floating up here. The artwork grabbed me. I think it's great looking. I'm definitely interested in that one comes out, so I will be probably backing that one. Other than that, we're going to get into a couple pieces of news that come up, a couple days old at this point, that maybe not all of you have heard of it. We spoke a few weeks ago about Jess Lanzillo, the vice president over at Wizards of the Coast, departing Wizards of the Coast, apparently of her own volition. She departed with basically a resignation letter. She posted it on her socials that she was leaving. She wished everybody well, but she felt like it was time for her to move on. Well, it didn't take her very long to find a new job, as it has been posted online, and we will have a link in the description where she has landed over at White Wolf. White Wolf, of course, being the group that puts out the werewolf, the Apocalypse books, Vampire the Masquerade, Hunter the Reckoning, um, books that I have in games I have played before for years. Haven't played them in a while. But she is going to land over there as the creative director at their brand, specifically for Vampire the Requiem. So it'll be interesting to see what she does over there. But I know, Steven, you're kind of really big into those books. I think you picked up a couple of them this weekend.
Yeah, I got the fifth edition books of Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse. I've always liked that World of Darkness setting. Everyone knows by now I'm a huge horror movie fan, and they kind of just they hit a lot of those marks for being a TTRPG and very story based, but also like horror themes just really seep through. I'm also a like an underdog fan. Like that TTRPG, that whole world's kind of always been in the shadows, as it were, next to
Mm-hmm.
bigger ones like Pathfinder and D&D and Mech Warrior. So I've always kind of rooted for it. I think it's a cool setting. I think it deserves to have more followers than it does. So I did pick up those books. I found them, and I'm really excited to see what she does. I mean, her talent it speaks for itself, and I'm sure she's going to do awesome things over there. So I can't wait to see what's going on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and exactly what comes up over at Vampire the Masquerade. But I am looking forward to it, and we'll see how things go. Uh, Also, in the news, we see that Wizards of the Coast has hired someone to fill the role vacated by Jess, a gentleman by the name of Dan Ayoub. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of him. He is also formerly from Microsoft, so probably not the best part of his resume, but he also has recently worked on in the past he's worked on the Halo games. Most recently, I think he comes from Blizzard, so he's coming over. The one thing that really stood out to me in the article, which we will post a link for down in the description, is the fact that he believes that D&D should be franchised. What does that mean exactly? Who knows? He did not go into details, but it for me personally, I think it kind of lends a little credence to what we've talked about recently in the long form cast and on MazeCast before, that Hasbro, who owns WoTC, is known to basically farm out IPs. They hold
Hmm.
on to the IP, they collect money, and then they basically farm out, product creation and product movement to other companies. They did it with they did it with the IP for the Power Rangers, and I believe GI Joe. So toy lines are one thing. Can they do it with a game line? I don't see why they couldn't. Just hold on to the IP, farm it out, let somebody else basically take the stick and run with it. I mean, they've launched D&D 2024, so there's nothing to say that hey, game supplements and additional hardcover books for alternate rules and things like that couldn't go over to somebody else, a smaller firm, to write it, and then Hasbro and Watson just hold on to the IP and cash in. So I'm hoping that's not the case, because if it is, it really leads me to be concerned about the future of the game that we all love and know. But again, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. So, Steve, you got any thoughts on that?
Um, none that I want to share. I don't love the idea of someone just kind of coming in and selling off anything, especially things that people are working so hard for. I'm hoping it's not what it sounds like. So, again, as we always say, we hope for the best. We hope that, nobody's going to lose their job or their work or anything like that. I just hope they have their intellectual property licenses all straightened out and that this isn't going to be a huge shakeup, is all I hope for.
Yeah, very well said. I totally agree. Many of you know we try to be straightforward with our news and not voice our personal opinions, but sometimes things like this hit a little close to home, so it's hard not to get a little personal. But very well said, Stephen. So let's jump right into what we're going to call the DM's corner. It's a little segment where we'd like to give out some DM advice. A lot of people, and I know just recently I spoke to a young lady on Instagram who told me that she is going to be DMing her very first game coming up at the first week of August, and she was reaching out to a few people online that are DM and content creators and asking them, what kind of advice can you give to somebody who's a brand new DM? And I think the first thing that I can tell somebody, other than don't try to memorize the rule book because you're not going to, just learn like your players learn. Uh, the one thing I can tell people, the one thing I want to warn all new DMs and even some existing DMs is not to over prepare. I've made the mistake many years ago in the past of over preparing, basically taking a notebook and a pen and just basically writing out page after page after page of detailed notes and storylines and hooks and NPC ideas and places I wanted my characters to explore and all, in an effort to kind of flesh out this idea I had in my head, only to find out that the only thing that is going to remain a consistent in your game is your players are going to do exactly what you do not anticipate they're going to do. Over prepping is a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy, and it's most likely just going to end in you being disappointed and then being at a loss for what to do. I have learned through experience the hard way that the best way to prepare as a DM is to make yourself one little page, 8 to 10 bullet points, a couple of plot hooks, maybe a rumor, an NPC idea with a name, and maybe a line or two of background for that person, like a description, and just be flexible. Let your players lead the narrative in a way that they want it to go, because quite honestly, They have the right to help with that story as much as you do to tell it. And they want that story to go in a way that they feel it should go organically, and you should kind of follow along. So the best thing to do is just keep your notes brief, be flexible, and be willing to adjust on the fly, because that's what's going to keep you happy as a DM and make you a successful DM. So, any thoughts on that, Steve?
I think you hit it. I mean, we were kind of talking about this before, but I think there's a fine line between, prepping. You should prep a little bit, but I think it's more important that instead of having all these notes and these preconceived notions about things that are gonna happen in the session, I think it's more important that you're dynamic and can react to these things, right? So you should have enough knowledge to be reactionary, but not inundate yourself with notes and scenarios when maybe those don't even happen. So
Yeah,
I would 100% agree. Just don't do so much prep that you kind of prep yourself into a hole and then have to dig
right,
yourself out in real time.
right.
I think it's just more important for you to just have the knowledge and be able to react.
Agreed. And I think for me, part of the fun for me as a DM behind the screen has been to see where my players take the story, which a lot of times is in a direction I didn't necessarily anticipate. And then being flexible enough to kind of add in new things on the fly, new NPCs, new places for them to explore, new creatures to encounter, new rumors that they hear while they're in the tavern. Because it helps me kind of be a more fast paced, quick on my feet kind of DM. And it's fun for me to watch them grow this story and enjoy the story. And for me, that's what it's all about. It's just making sure everybody at the table's having fun and having a memorable game that, at the end of the session when they walk away, there's like, wow, I can't wait to get back to the table and play again. So, all right. So that's it for the DM's corner this week. We're going to jump over to the apprentices corner, and we're going to leave it to Apprentice Steven to kind of guide us through the next little segment here.
Yeah, this is going to kind of be a joint topic here. It's going to be the community shout out and also my corner. And I happened to stumble upon a collectible card game, trading card game. Um, I don't come from a very heavy trading card game background, but
Mhm.
I found this card game. It was an ad or something on Instagram, and it's
Mhm.
called Old Mana. And what instantly caught me was just the artwork. It's so reminiscent of like old video games I used to play, namely World of
Mhm.
Warcraft. And he even
Mhm.
addresses that on his website. He's like, I know a lot of people are going to see, my artwork and be like, what is this? And he's like, clearly I'm influenced by World of Warcraft. But he's done a lot recently to kind of distinguish his game away.
Right.
But what I find so interesting about his game is just how it basically takes a lot of the things from Magic and well, really, Magic is the big one, but it's and again, we were just having this conversation before this call, but it's taking a well-known formula and streamlining it and kind of rounding out some of the edges that make a lot of these games hard to get new players into. I mean, having
Mhm.
trying to get somebody into a game like Magic or D&D or anything like that that has years and years of content and just complexity and rules and changes, it's hard to do. And this game is focusing on basically just kind of making the cards speak for themselves.
Mhm.
It's just simplifying a lot of what makes card games fun.
Right.
We have a community shout out on my on the website in my apprentice's corner, but I can't get enough of the artwork. He started this past week started working on what he's calling epic cards, which are
Mhm.
more rare versions of the standard cards, and the artwork looks different. It's not just holographic. I really like what he's doing. I mean, every time I buy Magic cards just for fun sometimes,
Mhm.
and it always makes me mad when I get something that looks really cool and it's just a holographic version of a standard card, and that's it. And it's like, oh well,
Mhm.
that's the rare version. Well,
Yeah.
talking to Indy, who's the showrunner over there at Old Mana, he'll take a card and he'll the character's in a different pose and they're doing a different thing and the card looks different, the font is different. It actually
Right.
like you draw that and it's like, oh, it's not just holographic. This guy he looks like empowered. It looks very cool.
So
And I
it
just
sounds like he took some of the things that were disappointing from
oh yeah
Magic and
yeah
tried to
he
put a new
based
spin on them.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very much you could tell it's the perspective of somebody that's probably been playing Magic for a very long time and is just kind of he's got fatigue and a lot of the bloat in Magic. I mean, when a game is out that long, there's just a lot of baggage that comes with that. And he's
Right.
taken an art style that he loves, and he's kind of put a very uh, a game that's conducive to new players, but also has nods to trading card game players that have been playing since the '90s. I really recommend it. Indy's been a very cool guy. I joined his Discord, and I've talked to him, I think, almost every day since we initially shouted him out. And we shouted him
Mhm.
out we didn't talk to him. I just found this, and I was like, I think this is really cool. We should shout this out. And I basically
Right.
told him, like, by the way, me and my dad are running this project, and we shouted out your card game because we really think it's neat. And he, we normally we reach out to them and we're like, is this okay? But I was very excited to get it out there, and he was very appreciative, and we've talked every day, and I think he even shouted dad out on Instagram.
He did.
So
Yeah.
I mean, he's in Germany, so his time zone's a little different, but he seems like he seems like one of us, right? And that's exactly the kind
Yep.
of ballpark that we like to shoot for, which is just a guy who's passionate about something that he loves, and he's doing something with it. And it's just one guy, he's got a job, he's doing this as he can, just like we are. Um, but I will say, just to try to break out of the vagueness of it, because I do want people to check it out and kind of make their own opinions of it. And I don't know if everybody here is a card fan, but one thing I do like a lot about it is this breaks away from if you've played Magic, it uses land cards to build mana.
Yep.
In this game, you can actually play and swap any card as a resource depending on its color. So
Okay.
it opens up a lot of like very early game moves that in Magic,
Mhm.
if you watch Magic, which I watch actually a content creator who's not known for Magic, but he started playing Magic, and the first like 5 or 6 turns are like everyone's just ramping, like nobody's really doing anything, and
Right.
it's
It's
almost
just all
like
prep. Yeah.
yeah, it's like every game is like that. Where I've seen people like on Discord, they're playing this game right now. It's not even out yet, and it's like turn 1 and 2 there's like significant moves happening because you're not
Right.
limited to did I draw a land or not. So not to
Right.
ramble on for too long, this game looks like a very streamlined and fun and fast-paced Magic with kind of an endearing art style similar to like a classic WoW. I really
Right.
like it. Indy seems like a good guy. Check out our article, check out their website. All of their information is in that article. I'm really excited. I cannot wait to get some of these cards in
Give
my
them a
hand.
follow on Instagram. Join their Discord.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
seem like a nice bunch of people.
They
Um,
engage constantly on their Discord. Like they're always in there
yeah.
talking about feedback, and the people are really cool about changes they want to get made. So check them out. We're liking what they're putting out so far. Again, it's just one guy, so don't go in there and say why can't I buy a physical copy of this in my game store right now. It's just a guy. He's doing a lot of this
It's just
stuff.
one guy.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of the dev work and stuff on computer. But I cannot wait. Like as soon as this goes live on Kickstarter, which there's not a date yet, but as soon as
Yep.
it does, and I get a chance to get some of these cards in person, it's just such a cool story that you can have a deck of cards from somebody that you've talked to on your bookshelf, and you're like, dude, I saw this from the beginning when it was just digital art, and now I
It
own
was
it.
little. Yeah, just a
And
guy sitting
yeah,
in his garage trying to make it happen. Yep.
that's what this
And,
project's
I,
all about. So definitely check that
yeah.
out.
And I'll tell you what, it sounds interesting to me. I got into Magic back in, I mean, when it first launched. I mean, was it early '90s? I got
Yeah.
into it because everybody at the local game store was playing it,
Oh
and
yeah.
I bought a few. I bought a few packs and a starter deck or two, and tried to build a deck. But I was more of a casual player. I wasn't one of these
Right.
guys who's trying to build a red deck, or I'm trying to build a black deck, or whatever the hell it was they did. And
Yeah.
trying to make these decks that I could destroy somebody in 6 turns or whatever. I just wanted to play
Right.
and enjoy the game. And it got so competitive with people that would spend thousands of dollars building these
Oh
just
yeah.
monster
Yeah.
decks.
Yeah.
It just became intimidating and it wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
So I gave it up. I took all my cards, I threw them in a shoebox, and quite honestly, I never saw them again. They probably got thrown out at some point. Um, but it's sad that you start a game with the intent of having fun, and then that
Mm-hmm.
fun gets ripped out of it because either the game is complicated or and I get it. It's a collectible card game. The point is to make money for the company that makes it. I get that, but it robs the fun for me as a player if
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can't play with the average person because they're going to build a deck that's just going to wipe the floor with me. I want to
Yeah.
have a game that's fun, it's fast paced, it's easy to play, and this sounds like that might fit that need. So I'll probably check it out too when he launches.
Yeah, I
So
mean, not to linger on this too long, but it does seem like a lot of the bigger card games seem to have the same problem, and what I mean, a lot of people call power creep, where the game
yeah.
starts and like, every like the base set comes out and everybody likes vanilla, it's very fun, and then like every
Hmm.
set that comes out, it's like, oh, this card is 0.5% better than the last card. And if you
Right.
don't buy all the new cards and buy tons of packs to get the exact cards you need, I mean, 3 or 4 expansions later, you are going to be 25% weaker than the guy next to you just because he ripped packs, right?
Right.
And I loved Hearthstone when it came out, which was a digital card game by Blizzard, the same people that make
Right.
Diablo, which is a game I talk about a lot. But I liked it for like the first couple years, and then the power creep got so out of hand, it's like I couldn't keep up anymore. It's like,
Right.
so this guy's very, he's even talked about it in Discord, he's very like anti power creep. He wants the cards that you pulled on day one to be significant 5 years from now. So I really
That's
like that.
awesome.
I like that. So anyway,
It sounds like he's fixing a lot of the issues that the old Magic system had. So
here's
I'm glad
hoping.
to hear it.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to jump into recommends. This week we've got one recommend for you. It's going to be a book. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, books? Really? I don't want to read a book. I don't have time." Okay, well, you know what? It's available on Kindle. It's
Books are
available
good.
on audiobooks.
Read books.
It's
Do
available
it.
on audiobooks, but
Read books.
books are good. Reading is good. So many of you probably got this on your radar already if you haven't already read it, but if not, you should definitely check it out, especially if you're an older player or you're interested in the history of D&D or where did D&D come from. There's a book out there called Slaying the Dragon by Ben Riggs. It is a great book. It goes into the history of the formation of TSR with Gary Gygax at the head, and then basically the growing and the changing of TSR on the levels that it did by some of the people who were there. Ben is he did a really good job of gathering historical facts and interviewing people to write this book. And then, unfortunately, it goes into the fall and the demise of TSR, and what happened afterwards. Um, it's a good read, especially if you're interested in that history. So I would highly suggest picking it up. It's available on Amazon in Kindle form, audiobook, paperback, or hardback. I got the hardback last year when it went on sale on Amazon. I picked it up on Prime Day, I believe. So I got a copy of it that I had read once and have started to read through it a second time. So good read. Highly recommend it to you. So we are going to jump into our fun questions. Those of you who joined us last time saw that we had some questions that Steve and I like to ask each other, kind of for us to kind of know a little bit more about each other and for you guys to get to know us better. So we are going to start off with Steven asking me a couple of questions. Perks or bonuses,
Hmm.
but not something that I would consider in the same level as what we just talked about with the Necromancer's gloves.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of homebrew things that do that. Some great homebrew content out there I have found on the web that do these things. I'll tell you what, our friends over at the Dungeon Report do some great items, some things that I have roll tested for them, like the burning buckler,
Hmm.
which basically is a buckler that has a little door on it that looks like it's going into a furnace, and it goes into like this extra dimensional space.
Hmm.
And if you're wearing the buckler, if anybody approaches within melee range of you and they don't leave your if they don't leave your threat range by the end of the turn, they take 2d4 points of heat damage.
Right.
If you want to push with that buckler or hit with that buckler, it does additional fire damage. And then there's also the ability to like cast fire out of it at
Hmm.
people at a melee range, at a missile range.
Yeah.
So they've really made some items over there that kind of take and not only flavor
Hmm.
but allow that character a lot of versatility that they you don't normally get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would suggest some of their items, but I also have homebrewed some items in my own game where as the players level up, the weapon levels up with them.
Oh,
And there's
cool.
games out there that have done this before, and I'm obviously taking kind of that from another game and kind of tossing it into my homebrew. But
Mm-hmm.
it's basically, if a character gets a weapon and they really like that weapon, hey, I got this great +1 sword, when I
Mm-hmm.
was fourth level, and I really like this sword because the artwork the DM gave me for it was great. I really just like the flavor of it. And it's kind of my signature weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, a +1 weapon when you're seventh or eighth level is really kind of starting to get kind of weak. The power creep has gotten to the point where that +1 sword just isn't as effective as it used to be.
Sure.
I have these weapons that level up with my players, and I'm calling them basically heritage weapons,
Oh,
or
that's
legacy
that's cool. I
weapons.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, these legacy weapons, as you level up, the
Mm-hmm.
weapons become more powerful with you. So, like, when you hit seventh level, these weapons are now +2. When you get up to 10th level, they become +3. When you start creeping into like 14th, 15th level, now they're +4 weapons. And they
Yeah.
gain additional abilities. Like, there's one that the paladin has a spear
Mm-hmm.
that they killed a small red dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a young adult red dragon, and he decided he wanted to collect a trophy. So he took this tooth, one of the incisors,
Mm-hmm.
one of the fangs out of the dragon's mouth, and he had it affixed to a spear. He likes spears because he runs a sentinel character. And I said, you know what? Let's make this his legacy weapon. He's gone to so much effort to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so it starts out as a +1 spear, and it does, when you strike with it, it effectively does 2d4 of burning damage to anybody that you get a successful strike on.
Right.
So not a huge amount, but it's a flavor thing,
It's enough to change it
He,
up, and it's enough to change
right,
it where it's not just you know.
right. So when he leveled up to level 7, well, now the weapon provides warmth. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
in a cold environment, you're kind of immune to the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Cold-based spells and stuff like that, you have resistance to. And just basically, as he's leveled up, the weapon has kind of matured and advanced with him. So things like that I like to do because it does help. It
Yeah.
allows
Yeah.
that player to hold on to that weapon they like so much, and it grows with them.
I mean that kind of I like that because it makes the weapon almost like a side character, and what
Mm-hmm,
rings that for me is Lord of the Rings, right?
mm-hmm,
Gandalf has Fohammer, his sword, and there's
mm-hmm.
the Goblin Cleaver and Narsil and all these like these weapons are almost characters of their own. So to be like, oh well,
Right.
this sword now sucks because I'm 10th level. Well, that's lame, because the sword's been there the whole time. It's also gotten experience, and it's been moving
Yeah.
through. So
Right.
that's it. Yeah, I'm glad that there's that because I know like there's so many things when I'm playing a game or whatever that I'm not a balance guy. Like I don't know how this stuff would break the balance of a game, which I could argue that doesn't matter. But um,
Right.
I just think to myself, man, I could make such a cooler item than this because like oh plus damage plus this. That's so boring. So I'm
Well,
glad I'm
I
glad to
always
see that there's some stuff out there, especially in D
there
and D,
is.
where they're at least forward thinking and they're trying to make your character at least feel the difference of these items.
Right. And I always tell my players, if you have questions, ask. If there's something
Mm-hmm.
you'd like to do, ask. I tell my wizard character who sits at my table, Jorn, he's a longtime player. He's been playing since first edition.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at spells and he goes, man, I wish the spell could do this. Okay, well, why don't you make it do that?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Spend some time, spend some money to research it. You explain to me how you think it would work and what it would take to work. And if we can agree on it, I don't mind you changing spells.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind you altering spells or taking a spell and flavoring it as your own.
Sure.
And, that way that character gets the fun of creating something new that he can use nobody else has ever seen.
Yeah,
So,
that's what it's all about.
yep, 100%. All right. Any more questions?
That was it. I took a long time for that
So
one,
long?
so I'll,
Okay.
I'll let that one go.
Okay. All right. That's a good question. So I'm going to ask you a question, and it's probably one that I know I've never asked you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Having grown up in a household where your dad was a DM all the time, have
Mm-hmm.
you ever considered being a DM? And if you did DM, what game would you like to, or what world or setting, or what role playing game would you like to DM or game master in?
Um. So I'll say I never really thought about it with you around. Because I mean, you were always DM. Like, I mean, it's a curse and a blessing. We always knew that you were there and you would do it all. So I never really thought about it. I do think about it now. In a way, I kind of feel like when I play video games, I'm the DM because I'm organizing the
Hmm?
party and running everybody around. There's multiple times where I've beaten a game, but I go back to help my friends through it because I feel like that's the whole point. Um, if there was a setting that I would want to DM in, Um, I feel like the cop out answer is Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
So I'm not gonna do that one. You know what? I've got one, and it's something we've talked
Okay.
about before. I would DM an Old Gods of Appalachia game.
Okay.
I think because it's just.
Okay.
I mean, I live in Virginia. There's so many flavor things I could add because again,
Hmm.
our family's from the area. Like I could really throw some flair in it that I couldn't do with a D&D or a Lord of the Rings just because it's Lord of the Rings I could probably do. Or maybe even a Warhammer Fantasy, but I think Old Gods of Appalachia I could really slam and do well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one I would do if I was to do my first game. I think
Okay.
that's where I would go.
Okay, like it. That's a good one. I had, like I said previously, we have a guy that we used to game with. He moved back to Kentucky, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
but he was big into the Old Gods of Appalachia, the podcast, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he probably has their Kickstarter on his radar,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
he talked about running, kind of doing a homebrew game for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And running us through it, I was totally excited. I mean, I'm
Well,
a fan of Supernatural. I
yeah.
like Grimm. I've played the Bison TTRPG,
Mm-hmm.
and I could totally get into a game set in the old gods of Appalachia.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't mind playing some barefoot hillbilly growing up in the Ozarks or
Oh
something where I'm
yeah, yeah.
being chased by witches or something. That would be fun.
Yeah, I remember when I first started watching their content, listened to their podcast, got an idea for like the different creatures. In my head, for some reason, I was like, dude, if I was to do a campaign, because I think I brought up the whole mining campaign where they were miners and they were in a
Mm-hmm.
cave in, and that was the entire
Yeah.
campaign. Um, I've for some reason, what hit me is the movie The Mist with Thomas Jane,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, dude, I'd love
Good
a
movie.
setup like that, but it's a bunch of
Yeah.
people in the middle of nowhere, like some podunk gas station. And they're
Mm-hmm.
all there, and something happens, and the campaign starts. Instead of a tavern, you're in like a truck
Right.
stop or a gas station, and
Oh
something
yeah.
has happened.
Kind of like the movie Legion, where they were
Exactly,
trapped in that little nowhere
the little
diner in the middle
diner.
of the
Yeah,
desert.
so like
Yep.
it draws a lot of parallels to fantasy, but at the same time, like I love like just Appalachia and horror and kind of suspense. Like I could spin that in that setting, and I think I could have a lot of fun with that.
Okay. I like it. It's good stuff. So, on that, we're going to end with our final segment, which is going to be what's next in the maze or what's coming soon. So, for us, Stephen and I have been working behind the scenes, talking to some different content creators, some people who are in the community and in the space that bring a lot to the community, that are people that we think are kind of the unsung heroes out there that we are trying to get on as guests. We've got quite a few people that have agreed to come on, which a lot more than I was really actually hoping for.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of getting everybody scheduled and coordinating everybody to get on at one time. So look for some guests here in the very near future. We're going to have some content creators. Some of the people that we've shouted out have agreed to come on and talk about their content and what they have coming down the pipe in the way of games and not only card games, but TTRPGs, things of that nature.
Hmm.
And we'll have some special guests on too, some authors, some artists, and stuff that will be talking to us about the things that they enjoy, what got them into the space, and what you can look forward to coming down the road from them.
Hmm.
Other than that, Stephen, did you have anything?
No, I mean in that list of possible little stop in surprise guests, I mean we might just have friends of ours that are just
Yeah,
passing
yeah,
through and want to jump in and talk about something fun. So we're building up um, just kind of these possible little cameos, and that's kind of how we see them as like little cameos in the episode. They'll
yeah,
pop in, kind of
yeah.
talk about what's going on, weigh in on some stuff, and then
Yep.
we'll get back to what we're
Talk,
doing.
pop in, talk, give their piece, and then
Yeah,
say
and
adios.
I can't remember if we talked about this on like live, but how I like to think of those longer form episodes is almost like we're on the radio live and we're taking like
Yep,
call in guests, and somebody come in and be like,
yep,
"Hey man, y'all talked about my Kickstarter. This is what it is, and I'd love for y'all to
yep.
check it out." And just stuff like that. I think it's super interesting, and it kind of just makes
We
every.
did,
Go ahead.
yeah, we did talk about during our last long form, the Lost in the Maze one. If you
Mm-hmm.
guys haven't checked it out, go over to YouTube and check it out. We'll have a link for that in the description.
Mm-hmm.
There is basically what we're hoping to do in the very near future with that is to basically have our Discord link up to a live chat
Mm-hmm.
so that people can come in, they can ask us questions. They can give us feedback, talk about the things they want to talk about,
Yeah, yeah,
or give us questions that we can pose to you, the audience, and just
yeah.
kind of get everybody to get engaged and see what your guys' thoughts are and make you part of this just like the rest of us. Because,
Hmm.
like Steve and I both have said, uh, we're the little guys in a very big space,
Yeah.
and we're never going to be the big guys in the space. We're going to be the little guys, but I mean, this space is made up of a lot of little guys, and I feel like
Hmm.
we can help uplift each other, shine some light on people that normally get lost in the shadow of other people
Hmm.
with much bigger content and much bigger channels. And that's what it's all about. It's just giving everybody in the community a chance to say their piece and tell us what they do and what they love about the game. So
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the coolest content I've found is somebody, just like us, who's just out there doing something that they love, and it's not getting the traction that these giant creators are getting, just because that's the nature of things. And I think it's
yeah,
important that we don't kind of let them drown, and we give everybody kind of a safe stage for them to talk about the things that they love. I
mm-hmm.
mean, we were given that, you were given that, and I kind of jumped in. I mean, I never would have thought we'd have made it to. I never thought we'd have a podcast, but then you talk about we're on
Right,
episode 5, and we've got a website, and you've got over 15, probably 16, 1700 followers now. I mean, we're just two guys that have been doing this stuff forever. I grew up with it thanks to Dad, and we're doing this anyways. If nobody was watching and we were hopping in Discord talking about it, we'd still be doing it. So,
yeah.
I
If it's
mean,
just the two of us, we don't
yeah,
care.
I mean, you've been backing projects since before I had my first job. I mean, this stuff is what we were already doing. We just said, you know what? There's other people out there like us that we want to link up with and talk to.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's projects I've missed because I didn't hear about them.
yeah, you can't keep up,
And
man. I mean, it's an ocean. It's an ocean.
it is. It's an ocean, and I want to bring some light to some of those smaller creators that
Mm-hmm.
get lost in the shuffle, and I want people to hear about them because there's some very great content out there that goes unnoticed just
Mm-hmm.
because of how many things are going on out there in the space. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, yeah. So with that, we are going to say goodnight to all of you because it is nighttime here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what time it is when you're watching, but we would like to welcome you all to come back and rejoin us at some point. We thank you for stopping in and spending a little bit of your day with us or night. Hopefully, you've stuck it out to the end. If you would, hit that like button. Consider subscribing, becoming a friend of the channel, and joining our Discord. We'll have a link for that in our description as well. So you guys can come over and chat with us there. We're on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, we will leave you guys lost in the maze, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.